Hi everybody and welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with the beginning of my end of August reading vlog. Let's jump into it. Alright, so the beginning of August was Booktubeathon. I read a ton, and since my last reading wrap up, I really have not read that much. It is the 20th. That one went up on the 17th, but I think I filmed it on like the 15th or something. So it's been 5 days. I have finished 2 books and I started another. So I guess maybe not as bad as I thought I was doing. So I finished Now I Rise by Kiersten White, which was the second of her, what is the series called? The And I Darken series? I don't know what it's called. I really enjoyed the first book. I ended up getting it from Book Outlet, I think, in physical format because I liked it so much. The second book, not so much. I think I gave 4 stars to the first one and 3 stars to the second one. But I don't think I'm going to continue, which means I'll probably end up unhauling the first book because I don't think I need the whole series. It is a Vlad the Impaler kind of a retelling with Vlad being the girl. In the first one, you know that the Ottoman Empire is after Constantinople. They would like to take Saint Sophia. They would like to take the church over. Having been a Greek woman in Turkey, in Constantinople / Istanbul, in St. Sophia's mosque now, but used to be St. Sophia Church, it was really, really hard on my grandmother. So essentially, I'm half Greek, I'm half Irish. I'm not Greek Orthodox. My grandmother is. I'm not particularly religious, but she is. And she was a wreck when we went. She was so emotional and so upset, and she was also so proud because the story of St. Sophia and this church being turned into a mosque and the changing of the cultures in that area through war, they tried to turn this gorgeous, gorgeous cathedral into a mosque. They did turn it into a mosque. But there were certain icons and certain religious paintings that the paint or what they tried to do over the original artwork there never took. It would continue to crumble, and you could still see pieces of St. Sophia through these, you know, the mosque remake, you know, the makeover. And she was so proud of that, and just the strength and resilience of her religion and her culture. My great-grandmother was actually forced on a death march and lost a lot of her family when the Turkish came and invaded her area. And it's a very personal time in her life, which makes it important to me. And I used to sit and listen to my great-grandmother tell stories about how she lost siblings and she lost family members and community members and had to leave and come to America and never go back home again after the Turks came and invaded and killed a lot of the people that she knew. So I understand that this is a fictionalized version of that particular incident, and I know also there are 2 sides to every coin, and no one is a full, you know, villain in this. You know, there are 2 sides to history, and there are Turkish people that read these books and really appreciate their history being told in these books. As a Greek, it was difficult to read, and it was difficult to read because it wasn't it's obviously a fictionalized history. It was just a little harder for me to read than I thought it was going to be, and I found myself definitely not sympathizing with the people that I was supposed to sympathize with because, like, I have a little bit of a vested interest in it, and I didn't care for it. And the characters are so goddamn whiny, and they can't make up their minds, and they flip-flop back and forth, and they're weak, and even the strongest ones are just weak and annoying, and I just can't get behind them. So I think I'm going to probably end up getting rid of And I Darken, which I did enjoy because I just didn't enjoy Now I Rise, and I'm not going to finish the series out. So unfortunately, not a win for me to start my month, but that's fine because I then went on to A Heart in a Body in the World by Deb Coletti, which is right here. I was actually offered a physical arc of this at BookCon, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to really like it. The cover shows a girl running. I'm not exactly athletic don't think it's going to be my thing. Didn't really look into the synopsis that much. And Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads ended up taking the physical copy of it, which I'm glad she did, because I was able to get an arc of that through NetGalley no problem, and I'm glad, I don't think she uses NetGalley, so I'm glad that she has the physical arc to read so that as many people as possible can read this book, because it was so difficult to read, but so beautiful at the same time. I gave it 5 stars. And I was so misinformed going into this because, again, I didn't look into the synopsis very much. I heard Madeline from Novel Inc. talking about this in one of her wrap-ups, and she said that she was so emotional and she cried through it, and it was just beautiful and gorgeous, and I knew I needed to read it. So I went on, and NetGalley approved me right away. I actually think it might be a Simon & Schuster book. If it is, I'm pre-approved for them, so I just went ahead and read it. I knew it was about a girl who runs from Seattle to Washington, D.C. So she goes on a 2,700 and some mile run. She runs 60 miles a day. Her grandfather follows her in an RV, and they camp out every night. And it's all about her trying to deal with mental health and depression and guilt and survivor's guilt and just this pain that she feels, I thought, after a sexual assault or rape. That is not what it was. However, there were also instances of forced intimacy. It ends up being about gun violence and her feeling guilt because this person went on this rampage because he felt slighted by her, and he assumed that there was more to their relationship than there was, and she feels this guilt because she was friendly to him, and did she cause this in some way? And there is an amazing conversation about mental health. She sees a psychiatrist, she sees a therapist, she checks in with herself, she knows when she's having her bad days, and she is very aware of her mental health. However, this also does push her. Like, she's running 60 miles a day, she's running with blisters and pain and like an inadvertent self-harm kind of a thing going on as she pushes herself and pushes herself. It's dark and it's painful, and it is a real raw look at gun violence in America, what it does to a person, what it does to a community. She ends up being this inadvertent activist. She doesn't want attention for this run. She just wants to go and do it because she can't stand being where she is anymore. She doesn't want to go to her high school graduation. Everything has changed and nothing feels safe, and this person is always in her head and she can't stop thinking about what happened. The trial is coming up relatively soon, and she decides she's going to go on this run and she doesn't know what. She wants to get to DC, and she doesn't know what's going to happen when she gets there, but she's going to do it. And eventually the media catches on and attention and awareness is raised, and it is so hopeful and so beautiful, but it is also very hard to read. I hope that you guys do read that when you can. So that was my 2 books so far in August, and that's it for right now. And I'll check in with you guys when I've read something else. Hi guys, I am back with another August wrap-up update. Yes, and today is the 22nd of August. I finished 2 more books. I finished them both today. I finished The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert, which I will have right here, the live show of which was on Chelsea's channel. That was like a 2.5 star, but I gave it 3-star read. It was not great. It wasn't horrible. It legitimately had every single trope that you could cram into a book. It had a prince who falls for a girl who needs money. It has a fake relationship. It has a hate to love, like a tortured past. It had BDSM. It had bad family relationships for like the guy and, you know, like his hard tortured past, like a scandal because he was into BDSM and is bisexual. But it did some things really, really well. It was an interracial relationship. I believe the author herself is from the West Indies, I think it said, and her main character was from the Caribbean, and the man was from some weird place. I don't know, like some Scandinavian, Swedish nonsense. So there was like a lot of like weird language that was used, like misspellings of things and just like weird turns of phrases. But other than that, I love that it was never like they enter into like a fake relationship for like scandal publicity reasons, and it's never mentioned that it's going to be like an issue that she's black and he's white. It's never really mentioned that they're having an interracial relationship at all. He doesn't like fetishize the fact that she's black, but he also says things like he gets pissed at her boss for being like, oh, they're a bunch of like clucking hens just gossiping all the time, and he's like, you sexist asshole. And then the next second she looks up and meets his eyes and he sees her dimples and he's like, I have to have her, she has to be mine. And I'm like, dude, you don't get it both ways. So it was a little bit ridiculous. Domestic abuse, emotional abuse, abuse against children. And then I finished a classic. I finished The Little Princess, or A Little Princess by Frances Hodgkins Burnett. You guys know I love The Secret Garden, and I think that the difference between that and this, like I gave this 4 stars because it's a classic, I get it, it's nice. It reminds me so much of The Secret Garden. It's another orphan who came out of India, so there's like Indian background, Indian like influence, and then another orphan who's left penniless and at the mercy of other people. It just felt like a repeat of The Secret Garden with like slight twists, like slight differences. I have like memories of The Secret Garden, the movie and the book from as it being a child. This is my first experience with this book. I haven't watched any of the movie adaptations. I haven't read the book before. And it just kind of like wasn't The Secret Garden. It was just a girl and her imagination. I didn't love it. However, I love this edition. I think it's gorgeous and it was a gift. So I will be keeping this like anyway, but it's not like a fave of mine, but it is really cute. It's a really good middle grade. If you're looking for a middle grade classic, I really do like that one. Is it up there with like Where the Red Fern Grows or something like that, or like The Secret Garden? No, but it was fine. That's it for now. Bye. I'm back with a little bit of an update for my reading vlog. I finished Sweet Temptation by Wendy Higgins. This is the 4th of the hell do they call this? The Sweet Evil series. And so the first one is Sweet Evil, Sweet Peril, Sweet Reckoning, and then Sweet Temptation. And it is about all of the deadly sins have a duke and they're on Earth and they're trying to lead people astray and do Satan's work and whatnot. The first 3 books are from Anna's POV, and she is part demon, part angel, and is set upon the earth to cleanse it. And we get this 4th book, which is a companion novel, which is from Kai Kaiden's point of view. It was fine. I mean, honestly, he's the son of the Duke of Lust, so he's basically just like, I mean, he has a heart. He's a good dude. But the alternate version, like it takes you through all 3 of the prior books and gives you his mental mindset as he's going through mirroring what Anna was doing. It's a lot of like, I have to have her. Like fighting the urge to like lead people astray by having crazy amounts of sex and not doing that because I'm trying to stay pure for her is really, really hard. And then like, I gotta have her, I gotta touch her. It wasn't horrible, it wasn't fantastic, but like the series as a whole wasn't fantastic. It was just so addictively quick to read. So I enjoy it, it was fine, it was like a 3-star read. It was perfectly acceptable. Was it necessary for understanding the story or the character? No. Was it fun to kind of go back into the world? Sure. So I'll go ahead and give this a 3-star. Perfectly fine book. No big deal. And this one is done. I have, what today? What today? That's not a sentence, Julie. Today is the 26th, so there's a couple days left before the end of the month. I have not yet read The Goal by Elle Kennedy, which I had to read for my TBR jar pick, so we'll see if that happens. If not, I'm going to roll it into September. So that's my update for now, and I'll check back in with you guys later. Bye. I am here with my end of August wrap up. Today is the 30th. We have one more day of August and I am not going to finish anything because tomorrow is a really, really busy day for me and the next day starts my God's Grave read and my vlogging for that. So quite frankly, I'm not going to be finishing anything else this month. Before I said I would be, I lied right to you. It's not going to happen. However, I do have a DNF. I'm DNFing Maybe in Paris by Rebecca Christensen. This is a story about a girl who goes to Paris with her brother after he's just gotten out of a psychiatric facility after attempting suicide. I am 102 pages into this. It's only 208 pages, so I'm halfway through. And it is so incredibly problematic. The mother calls her daughter a whore and a slut. The sister is given permission at 18 to take her 16-year-old, much physically larger, abusive, and confrontational and angry brother, who is just literally a couple days before release from a psychiatric facility, who she doesn't particularly get along very well with, and whom is on the autism spectrum, to Paris without her parents because she's an adult. Things don't go well while she's there with him, obviously. But there's just, listen, I get it. It's hard to be a caregiver and a sibling when somebody's on the autism spectrum and they don't show affection and emotion and compassion and understanding the same way that you do. Obviously, this is very case specific. There's a ton, it's a spectrum for a reason. There's a ton of different ways that this presents in people, but the way that it's presented for her brother, I just don't like it. And I don't like the main character, and I don't care enough to finish. So it's really short. It really is a quick read, but I just am finding it way too problematic, and I don't think I want to continue with it. So I'm going to go ahead and officially DNF this at halfway done. I will probably count it as read on Goodreads, but I will not rate it. I'm just going to leave it because, I mean, I'm going to mention what I think is problematic, but I'm not going to give it a star rating because I just don't want to. I don't know, because I just don't know what I would even give it, but I just didn't, I don't like it. I am also reading Muse of Nightmares, which I got from an amazing friend. I've got to give it back. I don't get to keep it. I'm on page 303, and I think there's 500 and some pages, so I don't have a ton left. I am going to read that today, and I am going to read it tomorrow until the Godsgrave read starts, so I'm hoping to be done by the time the Godsgrave read starts, but I'm probably not going to finish it in time for this vlog to get uploaded because I would like to do that tomorrow on the 31st. So 100% not happening. I read 16 books this month, 17 if you count the DNF. I have read a total of 5,156 pages this month, not including the 300 that I read for Muse or the 100 that I read for Maybe in Paris. So 400 more pages than that. So about 5,556 pages for the month and 16 books. Not the worst reading month, a pretty decent month, one of my larger number reading months. And I did break 100 this year so far, and I'm not looking to like outdo myself on numbers. I've been writing a ton. I just started a new job. I'm gonna be busier, but I think Contemporary-a-thon will probably help me get through some books too. So we will see. I am so stoked about the books that I have coming up for the next month, of which, by the way, this was a TBR jar pick and I DNF'd it. So not great, TBR jar, but this was supposed to be in September and I read it early, which means I'll probably just substitute The Goal by Elle Kennedy, which I did not read and was a TBR jar pick. I'll probably just put that into September's TBR. Anyway, that is it for now. If you guys like this video, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see all of you in the next one. Bye, guys.